Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel. You got your boys here, Lanny and Bert. The Dividend Diplomats, we're going to look at a stock that just fell 7% in one day. And here's the question. Is this a time to buy, or is this a falling knife that you should be running as far away from as you possibly can?
Guys, smash that subscribe button. Give us a nice thumbs up. Welcome to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel. Is this a falling knife stock? Should you stay away or take advantage? Let's see what you got to say, Bert.
Yeah, and we're all about finding those undervalued dividend growth stocks. That's what we do on this channel. We're always watching the market. We're always running stocks through our screener. We're always trying to help ourselves find companies to invest in so we can build that passive income stream, so we can grow our dividend income and we can reach financial freedom. So you bet when a stock drops 7% in one day, Lanny and I are going to ask ourselves, do we need to buy or should we keep looking away from it?
Oh man, falling knife. You're getting me warmed up for something here.
Yeah, we're
Bert, this is about a company who's had their CEO murdered.
we might as well just say it now. There aren't too many of those. It's United Health Corp, ticker symbol UNH.
That's all right. Let's just break the ice. Let's rip the band-aid. We're
Yes.
talking about it. We're talking about UNH here on this channel, guys, because this
Yeah.
stock is still getting punished, right?
Yeah. They dropped 7% on Friday. They're
The
down
21st.
7% year to date in 2025. They're down 11.54% over the last 52 weeks. This stock is falling, but it's not just because of what happened to their CEO, unfortunately. That is not the only reason why UNH is in the news. They are facing a lot of headwinds, Lanny. Some of them are self induced by some words that are coming from their CEO's mouth about the healthcare system. And some of them are just about the business practices that have turned people against the company. So let's start there. What caused the company to drop 7% on Friday? What was it? 21st is Friday? Yeah, Friday the 21st. There was another announcement, another Department of Justice probe into United Health for their questionable diagnoses to member medical records to benefit extra payments to its Medicare Advantage programs. And let me tell you, Medicare makes up a significant chunk of their revenue. Medicare makes up a huge chunk of business for UNH. So if the DOJ, this DOJ of all DOJs, the one that is probably going to be more business friendly than the past regime, is digging into it, you know that there's probably something that's going to cause some news and some bad practices coming up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if our current government is looking into it, they're going to uncover something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Whether it's, yeah, unsolicited practices, illegal practices, we'll have to really find out what comes out of this probe. Um, Now, I mean, yeah. I don't even know what else to really say.
No, it's terrible. And that's not the news you want to see. And of course, stock doesn't come down. Then I started researching it for this video. This isn't the only time they've gotten some probes in. This isn't the only thing that UNH is like battling up against. There's an antitrust investigation that was launched in 2024. They had announced the DOJ sued to block an acquisition last year for a home health company, Amedisys. I'm terrible pronouncing those names. So it's like,
Yeah, that sounds about right. Amadeus.
okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. And then obviously everything that happened last year with the CEO. UNH is just this lightning rod right now, Lanny. And their CEO's not also helping either because they came out with their earnings release and buried in there it was, oh yeah, UNH continues to report record profits. UNH continues to see great results, but it's also acknowledging that like our private health insurance is confusing to people. It's a complex system. It's costly to the healthcare landscape, but hey, UNH continues to pump out the money. And I think that's kind of the core of why people are so anti UNH right now. We're not trying to make this political. We're not trying to do this, but it's just kind of what the facts are. But how do you fix the system? That's the question.
Well,
That's,
I don't know how
I don't,
UNH probably can't fix the system, but they could probably start being more efficient, right sizing staff, cutting cost.
yeah,
Um,
doing
you
correct
know,
billing practices, maybe if that's what if
yeah,
this
correct
DOJ
billing
thing.
yeah, just doing things right. If they do things right, I always feel like good things will happen in the end, guys. And again,
Yes.
this stock down 12% since last year, down 8% so far this year.
Yeah. So let's look at them in our metrics to
Are
see
you going to buy this stock? Are you interested in a little healthcare, or is this
well
could this be a play for some indirect investing as well?
what. So let's go into that before we run them through the metrics, because that's really the point. You see the 7%, and you're like, is this a unique time to buy United Health? Is this the company that you want to buy? Look, say what you want to. UNH is not the first company to run into trouble with the government. They're not the first company to deal with major disruptions to the business that are unfavorable from consumers. There have been companies over time. You could look at tobacco a long time ago. Tobacco, how it fell out of favor, how you went through everything. And you had the 50s, the 60s, 70s, where you had this swing where tobacco went from the companies that couldn't stop making it, like they couldn't stop printing money, to then all of a sudden everything they went through from the health side. And sure, there's validity to that, but tobacco still survived. Philip Morris is having a record-setting year because they've been able to pivot from the tobacco that and all the issues of the past into the like. So that's why we're here talking about UNH as a falling knife or an opportunity. Like health insurance and healthcare is not going to go away over the next 100 years. So is this the chance to buy UNH, or to your point, Lanny, do you buy like an Elevance Health? Do you buy a company like a CVS, Aetna off to the side that's getting dragged down with UNH, but isn't dealing with the same business practices, that isn't dealing with the same crap, for lack of a better term, that UNH is? So you avoid the lightning rod, but you pick up the Elevance Health or the CVS Aetna to get a play on the sector.
I gotta ask then, right now, before we answer that, have you guys been buying UNH, or a stock that Bert and we own right now is Elevance Health, ELV, which is essentially Anthem, aka an indirect person or company involved in this story, in this equation, guys. So let us know. Are you a UNH? Are you an indirect?
Yeah, so let's run them through the screener here. UNH's price is 466.42 after falling. Their earnings per share are 29.77. Price earnings ratio is 15.67. On Seeking Alpha, their 5-year average price to earnings ratio, Annie, 21.92. So UNH is trading at a discount to both the S&P 500 and its historical price to earnings rate.
Yeah, this is a little interesting. Again, paying $8.40 total for the year, spread over a quarterly basis. Obviously, guys, about 210 per quarter, and that payout ratio is actually higher than I expected at 28%.
Still very low.
Very low. Yeah, very low, very safe.
Yeah, their 5-year dividend growth rate is 14.59%. They've increased that dividend for 15 consecutive years. So they're more than halfway becoming a dividend aristocrat, and they've had strong double-digit dividend growth.
Yeah, doing it for 15 years, 15%, 15 years, kind of like the sound of it, guys. 1.8% on the dividend yield. So higher than the S&P 500, kind of more towards the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation ETF, VIG. And, with that growth rate of 15%, that's a solid combination. I see why investors are there. Keep in mind, Elevance Health's last dividend increase was only a hair under 5%. So this industry will not be seeing high dividend growth for at least a year, maybe two.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And now their dividend yield has jumped up to 1.8%. It's still got some way to go before it's at 2%. If you run the numbers here, a 2% dividend yield for UNH would put the price around $420. So you need a pretty decent drop.
10% drop.
Yeah, still it's pretty substantial though. But it's not far off from that huge 2% threshold. I think that's the key that I'm going to be keeping an eye on for UNH.
That's the key that Bert's going to keep an eye on. I like the sound of it. Again, up 55% though in the last 5 years. So keep in mind they had a great run. So just remember that. They are one of the biggest companies in the U.S. at $430 billion in market cap, which is just insane.
Yeah.
But those are the metrics: below 16 PE, safe payout ratio below 29%, 15% growth rate, 15 years of growing dividends, 1.8% yield. Is now the time to buy this stock and take advantage of an opportunity.
And that's what's really hard right now, because it's going to continue facing pressure. It's going to continue facing negative headlines, negative press. If there's one that's going to take the beating for the rest of the industry, it's going to be United Health. And it's cool. For me personally, I think that 2% yield is going to be what I look at for UNH. I think If it hits 2%, then I'm going to have to seriously consider just ignoring all noise and just saying, economically speaking, does a 2% yield for UNH just make sense? And to me, that would be a good entry point to potentially pick up. Because remember, their 52-week highs over $600 per share. Just at the beginning of January, they were at $540, $550 per share. And sure, they are facing probes. They are facing all potential issues. But at $420, $120, $130 less than their January bar, $200 per share less than their 52-week high. Are they really that different of a company? So understanding people, like, it's trying to take the emotion and the noise out of the investing. I think UNH around, if it ever drops around $420 per share, then I'll be looking at, like, it might just be too cheap to ignore.
Yeah. Let us know, guys, if you think it's a stock to buy now or a stock you're going to be patient on. Maybe look for that 2% threshold that Bert mentioned. What other stocks are you buying that are great opportunities right now?
If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and remember, you're either with us or you're against us, Jack.
That was Bert, the Hurt, and Lanny from the Dividend Diplomats. Over and out.